what keeps coming up is this whole court of public opinion thing. And that seems to be the biggest challenge with social media and its involvement in tragedies like last night's Dallas protest. There, 12 officers were shot, 5 reported dead at this point. I don't have cable, so I was glued to Twitter for the evening, basically. When I opened up my Twitter at like 8:30 or 9, I put the girls to bed, opened it up, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on right now? We've all heard by now how Mark Hughes was tweeted out by Dallas PD as, quote, one of the suspects early on. He was quickly recused and proven to not be at all involved in the shootings as far as we know, yet the damage was kind of done at that point, right? Talk about court of public opinion. The Dallas PD Twitter account still had the tweet up until like right before we sat down here. I had a link to the tweet, and you know, the big question was, okay, well, Twitter holds this power, right? The longer this thing is up there that says this person is a suspect, the longer and you know, as you can see right now, that they've since removed it. So I think they did the right thing.
And he was smart because he went in. He turned himself in.
Yes, almost immediately once the shootings began.
If he didn't, I mean, you're asking for vigilante violence.
Yeah.
And wow, once you cross that threshold, what do you have left?
Yeah.
Rule of law goes away.
Yeah, we've seen this before with the Boston Marathon bombings. Some amateur sleuths at Reddit took it upon themselves to try and identify who the bombers were. Just by using publicly available thing. They started this huge witch hunt against somebody, a guy who actually turned out to be dead at the time because he committed suicide a couple of weeks earlier. But at the same time, his family was put through hell because the kid had disappeared. They were now being told that, oh, Reddit has identified this person as one of the people who bombed the marathon. The problem with social media is when we had disasters back in the days when it was print only, pre-internet, then there was a certain sort of enforcement of you had time to think. The police had time to work out what was what and what wasn't. We didn't really find out about it until either the news came on that evening or the daily paper came out the next day. Social media was very useful in some circumstances to be able to get information out there fast, but that's also incredibly dangerous if that information is wrong. And we've seen this in the Dallas case. I mean, the temptation is to use it to go out and make your life easier, but the possibilities for cock-up are huge, and the repercussions, as you say, for vigilante justice are immense for the people involved.
Yeah, this is at the same time, it's the most powerful thing about social media, which is you can get up-to-date information from multiple sources, and get all sides of the picture if you're willing to dive into it enough, which is great. But on the other side, it makes the knee-jerk reaction public, and we see that every time there's one of these disasters. I have to quit Twitter for a couple of days because there are people who are willing to retweet, to like, to favorite half-truths and untruths. And it just takes a life of its own on social media. And so, if you're not doing your due diligence and looking at multiple sources, the job that traditionally had been the role of the press, you can look at something like a Twitter feed or something like your Facebook timeline and come to a completely wrong conclusion based on what people are telling you are the facts. And that, again, that is really, really scary. Like Ian was saying, in the old days, and I'm not pining for the days of print media, but you used to have hours, maybe days, maybe even weeks to get a story right. Now it's, well, you've got seconds. You have seconds to get it out there, right or wrong. If you don't do it, people will forget you.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit scary.
Scott Johnson yesterday. I mean, this is the kind of crazy thing about Twitter, right? It's like you see a tweet and you don't have any context around it, but it's very easy to trust what you see. Dallas, as an example, Dallas Police Department puts out a tweet with a man's face and says this is a suspect, and immediately, whether he's proven to not be very quickly after or not, which he was, still it's like that court of public opinion has already been formed. And Scott Johnson last night, when I was following kind of the whole Twitter stream, had said social media is nothing but a huge mass of confirmation bias tonight. You kind of get what you hope to get out of what you see, because all you're really seeing are 140 characters. You're seeing these little bits, and they can either confirm your belief or confirm the opposite of that, which is what you expected or whatever it happens to be. And that's such a confusing place to be when such a confusing situation is unfolding. No one really knows the truth, and yet we're so tied to this social media aspect of it.